Jersey was on the road to recovery with the state reopening and the number of new cases on the decline. But now Hoboken Mayor Brahmbhatt is sounding the alarm after noticing a slight uptick in cases in his city. Those cases aren't people who attended rallies and protests. It's people who traveled out of town. Joining me live now to tell us more on who is affected and how to stay safe, Chief Medical Officer of Riiverside Medical Group in that area, Brahmbhatt. So good morning to you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So let's get to it. The Hoboken Health Department says that over the past weekend into Monday, there have been some recorded cases. Tell us where we're at in terms of numbers right now and how worried are you?
So, it's a slight uptick, is like you said, in numbers. So we're not talking about large number of positive cases. However, compared to the last couple of previous weeks where there were 5 to 6 days in a row where we had 0 new cases, all of a sudden we were getting 5 one day, 6 another day. So it makes me sit up and wonder what's going on. So we ask more questions. Obviously, the Department of Health will do their contact tracing and make sure these patients are quarantined and isolated. But we're asking the right questions. Where were you? What have you been doing? Have you traveled anywhere? And we have noticed the majority of people had traveled recently outside of New Jersey and were returning, which most people do in the summer. So, that's kind of goes along with the announcement yesterday from the state, and I think it's a great idea to quarantine any travelers coming from these hot spots.
Yeah, I think it's important to point out as well that the mayor, Brahmbhatt, said that first before those governors. He saw that this was an issue.
Absolutely.
So do you see more and more people coming in to Riiverside Medical to get tested? And if you are, tell me a little bit about who you're seeing, because there were some new studies that came out saying that while this may have affected the older population earlier on, we're seeing now a younger uptick in cases.
Yeah, I mean, we're essentially testing everybody. Anybody who wants to get a test gets the test, right? And I would say the top 3 types of people who are getting tested. Number one, individuals who are returning to work, either because their work requires it or because they just want to make sure they're extra safe. Anyone who attended the peaceful protest that happened in Hoboken recently, I think it was about 2 weeks ago. And then lastly, children going back to daycare, and people returning from, and now more so, people returning from out of state.
So speaking of those people that are returning from out of state, right, you're asking them to quarantine for 14 days, but things are starting to reopen as well. So do you think that they'll actually follow that?
I mean, I think they will. When you tell people that they have tested positive, I think they become more cautious. They realize that this can affect them, and it becomes a reality. And I would like to think that, based on what we've gone through for the last 3 months, that it's extremely important that they would do that. And I think a socially conscious person will do that.
And as a doctor that's on the forefront of this, you've been on the front lines the entire time. With New Jersey reopening salons, restaurants, several other establishments that are already open with safety guidelines, I have to ask you, what is your concern level for the speed that things are reopening?
I think, I've been observing in the community how they've been doing it. And I have a full confidence that I think this needs to be done, and I think we're doing it in the right time, and I don't think we're doing it faster than we should be. I see the businesses are being very responsible in making sure they're controlling how many people are in a situation, making sure they're wearing masks, making sure there's not clusters of people around. So, of course, everyone has their own responsibility, and we as citizens, if we're choosing to dine out, we have our own responsibilities that we need to make sure we're following all the rules, because the last thing we want to see is a large increase and explosion in our communities, especially.
Absolutely. And the masks, make sure you wear a mask. I've said it time and time again.
Absolutely, for sure.
We are
always wear a mask.
Right? We are the ones who are responsible for our own actions and our own future.
Exactly.
Doctor, I appreciate your time and your voice this morning. Great information there. All right.
Thank you.